Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. My name is Sherry Cressy. I'm the Operations Manager at All Aboard Travel. We are a Travel Leaders Vacation Center, so when you work with us, you're in fabulous hands as we are a global travel organization and we'll be with you from start to finish. We have a wonderful presentation scheduled for you today. And if you have any questions during today's presentation, feel free to take advantage of the Q&A box that you see at the bottom of your webinar. Type in your question, and time permitting today, we'll do our very best to answer those for you while we are live. For any other questions, feel free to give us a call at All Aboard Travel, 1-800-741-1770. And as a reminder, when you work with our advisors at All Aboard Travel, you'll be working with a certified specialist who has been in the industry well over 20 years, who has bringing to you a great deal of knowledge, and you'll be able to work with that advisor each and every single time to really build upon that relationship. And trust me, folks, that makes a huge difference in your travel planning. Now, I know that we can't be together this year as many of our regular clients have come to expect from our travel expos, which we hold in the convention center, but we are very grateful that we're able to come into your homes this year and bring these presentations to you virtually. We didn't want you to miss out on some of the good things, though, that you've come to expect. So this year, we still have some wonderful things available for you. For attending and for booking a reservation by February 8th of this year, 2021, we have for you a $500 onboard credit, or up to a $500 onboard credit per stateroom on a sailing. And if you choose to book an all-inclusive tour or all-inclusive resort stay or a tour package, you can also take up to a $500 discount for those as well. So again, up to a $500 onboard credit per stateroom on a sailing, or up to a $500 discount on an all-inclusive resort stay or a tour package. For the details on that, simply reach out to your travel advisor. Now for some even better news. This year, we are so happy to be able to give away a grand prize to one lucky winner. How do you qualify? Well, by simply being here as you are. We have a lot of wonderful presentations scheduled through the end of January. And if you register and attend our presentations, and you can register for as many as you like, you just might learn something new. But each time you register and attend, you will be entered into the drawing to possibly win up to a $1,000 All Aboard Travel gift certificate, which you can use toward your vacation. So that is going to really make somebody's vacation a wonderful experience. So good luck to all of those who are registering and attending. Also, as a quick reminder, one of the niche things that we do at All Aboard Travel is we host groups. We're very good at it. And not only do we host groups, but we host event group travel. So not just thinking along the lines of a family reunion or a family get together, although after the year of 2020, we really need to think in that direction of how we can gather again and spend time with loved ones that we were unable to spend time with previously. However, we also do event travel. So think of your community center, your organizations, your leagues that you're involved in. We do all sorts of events, including bands. If you're a member of a band or have a popular group that you enjoy watching, we can make arrangements for you to gather together and have a wonderful time. Again, my name is Sherry, and I want to thank you for attending our Cruise and Travel Expo 2021 Home Edition. And again, you can reach us at 1-800-741-1770. Now on for today's news. We have a very special person who is here with us to bring us some amazing information about Regent. So I'd like to introduce you all to one of our fabulous partners. We're so grateful to have her here with us, Miss Nicole Castillo. Hi, Nicole.
Hey, Sherry. Hello, everyone.
It's good to see you this morning. Happy New Year. Haven't talked to you yet this year.
Yes, well, Happy New Year. Good to see you. Thank you for inviting me to do such an innovative travel show. I love it.
Yes, we're excited to be able to do this for our friends, family, and clients as well this year. So they can really start to make some plans since travel is going to be resuming in the near future. Now is really the time when we need to start making those plans and getting those ideas together and deciding what we want to do.
Wonderful.
Well, Nicole, you are all set. So you are set up to be a presenter. All you need to do is take over and share the screen. You can stop sharing mine and feel free to share your presentation with everyone.
Right, let's see. Oh. Okay. Right, can you see it? Is it?
It looks perfect.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you again, Sherry. I really appreciate, like I said, the opportunity to be here today. And to your point, travel will come back and will be back very strongly. We're all predicting that. We're seeing definitely every trend indicating that. And although our ships or the ships are not sailing and they haven't been sailing for a bit, we are very hopeful that we're getting very close for our ships to be in the water again. So the purpose of today's presentation for Regent Seven Seas Cruises is to bring you all on the Regent Seven Seas Cruise journey and allow you to dream during this time while we wait for our ships to be sailing again. Now, I want to give you a nice overview of the Regent Seven Seas Cruise brand and what we stand for and what we're all about. Some of you may be familiar with Regent Seven Seas, others may not. I will share some new things that will be happening with the brand, as well as some new health and safety protocols that will come into play once we resume cruising. Before that, though, I will go ahead and start with what Regent Seven Seas is all about. And I like to start all of our presentations with our brand vision. And this is very important for me to share with all of you because everyone within our organization, whether it be our guest services team on board, our crew members, or everyone from an operational standpoint from our headquarters, we live and breathe this brand vision, and it really helps create that consistency and everyone driving towards the same goal. So our brand vision is at Regent Seven Seas Cruises, our goal is to deliver an unrivaled experience, allowing guests to immerse themselves and fully discover the world while returning home to the exquisite care and comfort on board with every luxury included. So we defined our brand by 5 specific pillars. And I briefly want to go over these pillars, and I will elaborate a little bit on each one throughout the presentation. The number one reason that we find our guests are sailing with us is that first pillar, that immersive exploration. People want to not only see the world by means of a beautiful, luxurious cruise ship, but they also want to be immersed in the destinations that they visit. So whether it's through our Go Local tours that I'll get into a little bit later, or through our free unlimited shore excursion offerings, guests are choosing to sail with Regent Seven Seas Cruises, not only because of all the various destinations that we visit, but also the way we immerse them in these destinations. The second pillar is our impeccable service. We really take pride in the service that we provide to our guests. We like to call it a very personalized service, and we're able to do that because of our guest to crew ratio. So when you look at our guest to crew ratio, it's one of the best in the industry. It's for every Regent guest, we have about 1.5 crew members on board. And because of that ratio, our crew members are able to really get to know our guests, connect with them, find out what's important to them, and deliver upon that. You know, one of the things that I love seeing when I'm on board our ships and it's embarkation day, you know, always, it never fails. You have our guests coming on board and you see our crew member or one of the crew members coming by and kind of stopping and looking at the guests and saying, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or what be it. How are you doing? You know, I'll be waiting for you out in the pool deck, you know, with your Bloody Mary in the morning. So again, and you know, you'll have the guests look at each other and think, I can't believe that he remembered me. But again, this is because our crew members truly take the time to connect our guests and they remember. So that is always very important to our guests and something I'm always very proud of to share. Luxurious suites being our third pillar, something that we're very much known for is not only all the various accommodations that we offer that I'll get into a little bit later, but also how spacious they are. When you look at our fleet, we call ourselves, all of our accommodations are referred to as suites. 90% of our accommodations are balcony suites. We do not have any inside accommodations within our brand, and we do have some ocean view suites only available on our Seven Seas Navigator. So 1 out of our 5 ships. The other 4 ships are all balcony suites accommodations. But when you look at what our suites range from as far as size, you're looking at the very minimum is going to be anywhere between 250 square feet all the way up to our Regent Suite, which can be found on the Seven Seas Splendor and Seven Seas Explorer, to 4,400 square feet accommodation. So even at that very minimum, still having all the comforts that guests have in their home. And it's something we take pride in as far as our accommodations, and I'll give you some visuals a little bit later. The fourth pillar, exquisite cuisine. Everything is beautifully presented, freshly prepared. Several different dining options is what we offer our guests on board our ships. And again, I'll get into a little bit later. And where we hang our hats, so to speak, is in that last pillar. You know, when someone thinks of a Regent Seven Seas cruise, one of the things that comes to mind is that every luxury included component. When you look at what we have to offer, there is no nickeling and diming on board our ships, as I like to say. Everything is taken care of for you up front. So when you get on board that ship, you don't have to worry about any additional costs. So I quickly want to run through what's included on a Regent Seven Seas cruise, starting off with our air inclusion. All of our itineraries will always include airfare. However, the majority of our itineraries, if it involves an intercontinental flight, which the majority of our itineraries do, free business class air is going to be included out of 30 major gateways. Now, if it happens to be a domestic itinerary, Alaska, Canada, New England, it would be economy air included within those fares. Now, if you're flying out of a gateway that is not included in those 30 included gateways, we charge a very minimal fee of $249 per person to fly out of that secondary gateway. But again, very minimal. And then you tack it on with the free business class air included. It's an incredible value. Now, we also offer, we're very big advocates of flexibility and guests being able to customize their experience with us. And one of the ways that you can do that, if you wish, I know miles nowadays, a lot of folks have miles and they want to choose to utilize their miles and opt out of our air program. We offer that flexibility as well, where you can take a cruise only package and forfeit our air and transfers, and we give you a credit for that. Now, the majority of our guests are taking the package as it is, but I always like to mention that as well. About 15 years ago, we took a look at our brand and we thought, what more can we add to it to make it that much more inclusive? And shore excursions came about. So we basically took shore excursions that were valued anywhere between $100 to $200 per person. And there were shore excursions that our guests were already purchasing before we made them included. And we thought, let's go ahead and just give this a try and include those shore excursions in our fare. We started off with 15 sailings, and within a week, those 15 sailings sold out. So the program we've eventually rolled it out on all of our itineraries, and it's been a huge success. So at any given port, you have anywhere between 4 to 8 included shore excursions to choose from, and it's unlimited. So as much energy as you have, or time. You can take part in a morning, an afternoon. If we're at a port overnight or late in the evening, you can take part in an evening shore excursion as well. So these are your wine tasting tours throughout Italy. In St. Petersburg, we do a private tour of the Hermitage. Kayaking, snorkeling tours, or zip line tours in the Caribbean, all part of our included shore excursions offerings. We also have additional inclusions such as free and limited beverages, including fine wines and spirits. Prepaid gratuities are also going to be included. To dine in our specialty restaurants, there's no upcharge. That's also included. Nowadays, folks want to stay connected in their travels via the internet. So we provide free unlimited Wi-Fi services. And a new inclusion that we announced in the last couple of months, once we resume sailing, we are now going to have free valet laundry service as well. So we're very excited. I know I'm personally very excited about that, because I'm one of those people that when I come back from a trip, one of the things I dread doing is laundry. So it's just nice to be able now, when I cruise on us, to be able to do have my laundry done for me prior to me arriving in my home. And it also allows folks to travel differently. Again, we try to take that, we try to really take pride in the comfort and the conveniences. And we call it what's luxury to you, and apply it in your experiences. But as you can see, we're so inclusive that you can literally step off the ship and not have a bill once you've completed your cruise with us. As I mentioned, that first pillar, very, very important to our guests. We go all over the world. It's just a matter of where you are wanting to visit. And again, we're all anxious to be able to visit beautiful places in South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, in the Caribbean, Europe, South America, South Pacific. I know we're very anxious to get our world cruises sailing again. So we go all over the world. It's just a matter of where you would like to go. And we're there during the peak season. So for Alaska, our Alaska season starts as early as mid-May, and it runs through early September. And we are typically doing 7-night Alaska cruises from Vancouver to Seward, and the reverse of that you can also have the opportunity to add a pre or post land package and visit places like Denali, Talkeetna, Alyeska, so the inner part of Alaska. When you look at, for example, our Europe itineraries, we go all over Europe. The Med, we have itineraries in the Black Sea. We go to the Baltic. So we also go up to Iceland. So various itineraries is that what we have to offer. I don't want to spend too much time in these. That is something that your wonderful travel advisors at All Aboard can assist you with and help narrow down and basically go over specific itineraries with you for Regent Seven Seas Cruises. But I did want to give you a nice overview of what we have to offer. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have 5 beautiful ships currently in our fleet. You're only seeing 4 on the screen here. I'll get into the 5th one in the next slide. But starting off with the size of our ships, they're going to range anywhere between from our largest 54,000 tons to our most intimate, the Seven Seas Navigator, which is a 28,000-ton vessel. So considered mid-sized ships as far as the size, when you look at the number of guests that we offer, that is where the intimacy comes into play. On that 54,000-ton vessel, no more than 750 guests will be sailing with you. On that Seven Seas Navigator, 28,000 tons vessel, no more than 490 guests. So we are also known for having one of the best guest to space ratio. So although a lot of folks think we do have small ships, they're not necessarily small. They're smaller when you compare us to some of the other larger brands, but where we are definitely shine is in the number of guests. We provide a very intimate experience for our guests. Now, our newest ship, the Seven Seas Splendor, was a ship that we launched back in February of last year. Now, she didn't get to sail for too long, and she got overshadowed, rightfully so, by the COVID-19 situation. But I did want to make sure I mention her and give you some visuals of the Seven Seas Splendors, because it will give you an idea of some of the spaces that we have on our other 4 ships as well. So the Seven Seas Splendor, as I mentioned, she came into our fleet back in February of 2020. And some fun facts about the Splendor that I also like to share is that the captain for the Splendor during her inaugural launch was Captain Serena Milani. So Captain Serena Milani, one of the reasons we're very proud to have her launch the ship is because she was the first woman to launch an inaugural for a cruise ship. So we announced it 2 years ago during International Women's Day. So it's something that we're very proud of, and we love Captain Serena Milani as well as our guests. The godmother of the Seven Seas Splendor is Christy Brinkley. And Christy really represents everything we feel, not only our brand, but the Seven Seas Splendor represents, from timeless, grace, beauty. So we thought that that was a perfect fit. And some other fun facts about the Seven Seas Splendor: there's over 500 large crystal chandeliers found throughout the ship, over an acre of Italian marble on board the Seven Seas Splendor. And when you look at the art collection on the Splendor, it truly is an art gallery in itself from bow to stern. We invested over $5 million in artwork on board the Splendor from about, I believe there's over 200 different artists that contributed to the artwork of the Splendor from both the 20th and 21st century. So here is an image of the atrium. This is what our guests are seeing the moment they walk into the Seven Seas Splendor. As you can see, so beautiful. That chandelier, as I like to say, is the star of the show. Then you walk into the compass rose, which, by the way, all of our ships, when you look at the main dining room, they all will be the same. It's the compass rose. It's open seating. We do not have any set dining time on board our ships. The dining room opens at 6:30 and it's open till 9 o'clock. There's plenty of tables of 2 in our compass rose dining room, and there's plenty of tables if you want to have a more large rather than having intimate experience. If you want to sit with a table of 6 or 8, we can accommodate that as well. Now, as far as health and safety protocols, we have not released yet information because something we're still working on what dining will look like once we resume sailing in the beginning. But those details will come as we get closer in. As far as the attire on board our ships, we like to say it's country club casual. There are no formal nights on our itineraries that are less than 14 nights. For itineraries that are more than 14 nights, it's optional formal. One of the things that our past passengers feedback that they gave us a few years ago is that they were done traveling with their ball gowns and their tuxedos, and they wanted a more comfortable atmosphere in their travels. And we listened, and we have not looked back. Speaking of past passengers, they represent close to 68% of our brand. So it's something we're very, very proud of when you look at our past passenger guests. One of my favorite art pieces on board the Seven Seas Splendor is as you're entering the Pacific Rim, and this is one of the specialty restaurants on board, not only the Splendor, but its sister ship, the Explorer. So this is an Asian fusion restaurant, again, all inclusive. But as you're entering the restaurant, there's this floor to ceiling dragon that is greeting you, and you literally have to walk around the dragon in order to enter Pacific Rim. You can't see it in this image, but it's holding a pearl in its hand, and the idea behind that is good luck as you're entering the restaurant. So not only is the artwork incredible, but the placement of the artwork also is very meaningful throughout the ship. So moving along to our accommodations, not only on this Splendor, but as well as our other 5 ships, starting off with our deluxe veranda suite. So when you look at the accommodations this is considered our minimum accommodation, but as you can see, there's nothing minimum about this. Still very spacious. This is the actual deluxe veranda suite on board The Mariner, it has a beautiful walk-in closet, marble pointed bathroom. So again, we try to take those comforts that you have in your own home and incorporate them in our accommodations. Now, if you're sailing on the Seven Seas Navigator, the deluxe veranda suite, and if you remember, I spoke earlier about it being our most intimate ship and the only one of our ship that has the ocean view accommodations, you would replace that veranda with an oversized window, and that would be the minimum on board all of our ships. And then the concierge suite, in this image that you're seeing, it's the concierge suite on board the Seven Seas Explorer. The design is similar to the Seven Seas Splendor, where the bed is facing the veranda. This was something new that we launched with the Explorer, and it's just a beautiful view as you're waking up and you see the lovely ocean horizon. And our guests really love this accommodation. Depending on the ship, this particular accommodation is going to range anywhere between 300 to about 420 square feet, again, depending on the ship. This is the bathroom on board the Explorer for the concierge suite. But as you can see, plenty of drawer space for your toiletries. There's a separate shower and tub, which is true for all of our ships with the exception of our Seven Seas Mariner. On that ship, you have the option of either an oversized shower or the shower and tub combo. Then you have our penthouse suites, which, going back to our concierge suite accommodations, at this level is where we start including even more. For example, guests who book our concierge suite and above accommodation, we will include a one-night pre-hotel. So we fly you in a day before, put you in a luxury hotel property, and your vacation starts then. That is included in our value proposition as well. Then in our penthouse suite accommodations, this is the level where, for example, butler service begins. So this is the penthouse suite accommodation on the Seven Seas Voyager. And, you know, one of the things our butlers do for our guests every day, or at 4 o'clock, they bring them hors d'oeuvres. I often get asked, what's the difference between a butler and a suite attendant? Our suite attendants are fabulous, but the butlers are just really, I would say, do a fantastic job in just anticipating our guests' needs. I like to use the story of one of our guests who were staying in a penthouse suite, was dining in one of our specialty restaurants, and she spilled something on her silk blouse. So she ran up to her suite, and as she was in the hallway, ran into her butler, explained what was going on, went back into her suite, changed her blouse, and went back to the dining room. When she came back to her suite that evening, there was a handwritten note from her butler just letting her know he took the liberty of taking her blouse down to the cleaners. So again, very personalized, detailed services, what we take pride in. And then you look into our upper suite, so our named suite categories. Starting off with our Regent Suite. Again, this is the 4,400 square foot accommodation, with the balcony alone being 800 square feet. But then going along to our 7 suite accommodations, this is on the Explorer. This is a 1 bedroom, 1.5 bath accommodation, separate bedroom to living area. Then you have the penthouse suite. In this case, this is on the Seven Seas Explorer, has those partitions, which is very popular with our guests. So it creates that privacy factor for someone perhaps that likes to sleep in, to an early riser. And then you have our master suite, which is on board all of our ships. The one you're seeing here is the master suite on board the Seven Seas Explorer. This is a 2 bedroom, 2 bath accommodation. And this particular suite is about 2,000 square feet. You also have our grand suite. So this is right below the master suite accommodation. And just another image of the Regent Suite master bathroom, as well as the Regent Suite dining area. Now, as I mentioned, as far as our cuisine, everything is beautifully presented, freshly prepared. We have several different dining options that we offer our guests, starting off with Prime 7, which is our signature steakhouse on board all of our ships. We have Chartreuse, which is a French restaurant, And we have Pacific Rim, as I mentioned earlier, is an Asian fusion type of restaurant. Setamari is an authentic Italian restaurant. We do some great wine pairing. For something a little bit more relaxed and al fresco, we have the Pool Grill, where we serve breakfast and lunch and now dinner as well. La Veranda is our more informal dining option. This is where we have our breakfast, lunch, and dinner casual setting. And then the main dining room, as I mentioned earlier, our Compass Rose. So several different dining options. There is no fee, as I mentioned, to dine in the specialty restaurants. But we also have things, a lot of our guests take advantage of our 24-hour room service. And instead of going to one of the specialty restaurants in the evening, they can actually order from the menu of one of the specialty restaurants and have it delivered as room service in their suite and dine out perhaps in their veranda. Always an experience I recommend for our guests to do. We have several different onboard activities. A lot of folks who have not sailed perhaps on a ship of our size or with our amount of guests often ask me, what is there to do on board? And my response is always, we have everything the larger ships have, just in a more intimate setting. So we have the casinos with tables. We have the main theater where we have Broadway style shows. But again, in a much more intimate setting. Instead of having, 7 different lounges, we have 2 lounges on board our ship. We have a full service spa on board our ships, as well as a state-of-the-art fitness center on all of our ships. We do fitness classes like Pilates, spinning, kickboxing, which our guests really enjoy. There's personalized fitness classes as well. And then as far as our enrichment program, there's endless options. This is something that's very important to our guests. So we like to partner up with specialty lectures. I know one of the very popular ones that we collaborate with is Terry Breen, and she is our specialty lecturer in our Alaska destinations. And for those of you that are not familiar with Terry, she is an author, a destination specialist in Alaska, an anthropologist, and she not only goes up on stage and does a lecture on Alaska, but as you're cruising the Hubbard Glacier, she's up on the bridge narrating what you're seeing. She's going on shore excursions with our guests. So it's a very interactive experience that Terry provides, as well as our other specialty lectures. On the Seven Seas Explorer and Seven Seas Splendor, if you are into the culinary experience, we have our culinary arts kitchen on board those 2 ships, where we also offer our gourmet explorer tours. And through these tours, you would basically go with a chef on board to, depending on the destination, a local market, pick up exotic ingredients and spices, then come back on board, and the chef will walk you through making a local dish. We also partner up with PBS, where you have your admired PBS on board many of our sailings. We do traditional onboard events such as wine tasting, scotch tasting events. We do a lot of computer courses, for example, Excel or social media courses on board our ships. And then we do our Spotlight theme cruises as well. For example, Spotlight on Bridge program is something that we offer for our guests through those theme cruises. Going back to that immersive experience, one of the new programs that we launched, I would say over a year ago, is our Go Local tours. And these are more off the beaten path type of experience. And so through these Go Local tours, this would be, for example, going to the countryside of Spain, Andalusia, to a family-owned goat farm and learning their traditions of making cheese. Or go fishing with the locals in Portofino. So more off the beaten path immersive experiences is what we offer through our Go Local tours. And what's great about these Go Local tours is several of them are part of our free unlimited shore excursions as well. We also have our small group touring as an option. And again, it may be that we offer small group touring in the beginning of when we resume cruising, but through our small group touring, it's no more than 16 guests, so much more intimate experience in a full-size motor coach, so plenty of space. But even through our included shore excursions, you know, we typically never fill a motor coach. So when you look at, you know, a motor coach that holds 45, even on our included shore excursions, you're going to find that there's going to be maybe 28, 25 guests in that. So again, we just, it's part of our brand messaging, what we're all about to begin with, even prior to the COVID-19 situation. Then going back to the value of our brand, I quickly want to just share with you side by side something that when you look at our guests that sail with us, they look at this value proposition and understand. We get a lot of seasoned cruisers sailing within our brand and perhaps are moving up from other luxury lines, and we're expecting and we're already seeing that where guests who have sailed on, you know, the larger cruise lines in the past are now even more so because of the situation booking into the more luxury brands, specifically because of that guest to space ratio and the reduction in number of guests that they're going to be sailing with. But when you look at our value proposition at first glance, you know, here we have a side-by-side Alaska comparison, but at first glance, we may come out a little bit higher to what some of our other competitors are advertising. But when you look at what's included, in this case, because it's Alaska, it's economy air, shore excursions, gratuities, so it kind of breaks it down. When all is said and done, that bottom cruise fare figure did not move to what we were advertising. Whereas, you know, the other brand advertised $52.80, but after you start adding up anything else that is required to go on that trip, now you're spending $7,300 potentially. So we like to do these side by side. We have it in this case with another luxury brand, but we also do a lot of these side by sides with the premium brands, where you can, where it basically shows that if you're booking a upper balcony or suite with some of the premium brands, Holland America, Princess, Celebrity, that when all is said and done with air, gratuity, shore excursions, you pretty much have paid for a Regent Seven Seas Cruise. So you're sailing with less guests, having a more personalized, intimate experience, and also which comes into play very much so is that eliminates that nickeling and diming that you experience in some of the other premium lines. So I want to not end because I have a couple more slides, but I am getting here towards the end of my presentation. Just go over some of the new enhanced health and safety protocols. Now, by all means, there's going to be a lot more details and more information and more safety protocols that will be announced prior to us resuming sailing. But I do want to give the history of how these came about. Back in mid last year, we collaborated with the Royal Caribbean family and put together a panel, and we named it the Healthy Sail Panel. And the sole purpose of this panel was to put together, through the advice of experts, protocols of what is recommended for cruising once we resume sailing because of the COVID-19 crisis. So the panel was led by Governor Mike Leavitt, who, if you're not familiar with him, he is the former governor of Utah and Secretary of Health and Human Services under the Bush administration. And the other co-chair was Dr. Scott Gottlieb. And you might be a little bit more familiar with Dr. Scott Gottlieb just because he's been very vocal during this pandemic and does a lot of commentating for CNBC. But he is also the former commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So we were in great hands with the co-chair folks. And then it was also a collaboration with many panelists with backgrounds in maritime operations, infectious disease. So a lot of PhDs, as you can see. I'm not going to get into each individual's background, But again, we felt very comfortable that this group would come up with what is necessary to resume sailing in a safe way for our guests, crew, and the communities that we visit. And they sure delivered. They came up with 69 recommendations that they provided to the CDC. And the CDC, after reviewing those recommendations, removed the no sail order to a conditional sail order. So now we have a roadmap that we have to go by, the cruise lines, to resume sailing. We're not quite there yet, but as I mentioned, we're getting closer. And of course, the distribution of vaccines and more folks getting the vaccines is absolutely crucial to us resuming to sail again. So as I mentioned, we're getting very close to cruising again. But what we will be doing is, before our ships even enter service, they will be sanitized and certified virus-free. So all of our ships are going to be disinfected. As I mentioned, we also announced that we will be installing on all of our ships, as well as our sister ships for Norwegian and Oceania, a disinfected air purification system. And basically, this new air filtration technology is from Atmos Air Solutions, and it's going to feature continuous active COVID-19 disinfection through bipolar ionization in the air and on surfaces. It's a natural solution, which is very important for our guests, and it uses no harmful chemicals, radiations, or byproducts. So this is something that's going to be installed on all of our ships before we resume sailing. We're going to be doing continuous ship-wide disinfection and daily fogging on all of our suites and public areas. We are including a dedicated public health officer on board all of our ships. And basically the sole purpose of this health officer is to work alongside the CDCs and make sure that their ship is within compliance of the CDC's vessel sanitation program and monitoring day-to-day cleanliness of the public areas and accommodations. We have the ability, of course, to pivot and change itineraries if cases are rising in a particular area. We replace that destination or replace it to a day at sea. We've always had that ability because we're in the ocean, but we want to make sure that we included that front and center in our health and safety protocols. We are going to be requiring all of our guests to have a negative COVID-19 test prior to embarkation. We're also going to be socially responsible check-in is what we're calling. So we're staggering embarkation, even though you don't see a lot of crowding on our ships to begin with, but we're trying to minimize anywhere where you do see more folks than usual, and that is in the check-in area. So guests will be arriving at the ship at their designated time and checking in. We're implementing a no-touch food service ship-wide. And of course, we are committing to increase social distancing by reducing the capacity on board our ships. One of the things we're also doing is we're increasing our medical team to provide one of the best medical staff to guests and crew ratio on board our ships. As I mentioned, this is just a little tidbit of what we're doing. As we get closer to the resumption of cruising, we will share with you more information and more details of our health and safety protocols. Now, I want to end this with some very exciting news and a wonderful offer that we have in place, as well as an exclusive offer that we have in place with All Aboard Travel as a thank you for all of you for joining us. But our current promotion is Upgrade Your Horizon, and it is a free 2-category suite upgrade on virtually all sailings, as well as a 50% reduced deposit. This offer is good through February 28th. So please make sure you contact your All Aboard Travel advisor and learn more details on this wonderful offer. But as I mentioned, as a thank you for joining us today and dreaming with us on going on a Regent Seven Seas Cruise, we have a exclusive offer for All Aboard Travel, and it is a $200 shipboard credit on any sailing when you book within the next 2 weeks. I often get asked if everything's included, what is the shipboard credit going to go towards? There's plenty. You can use it towards the spa, towards our Regent Choice excursions, which are going to be valued then a little bit more than our included shore excursion. You can use it towards a private car and driver at a particular port. So there's plenty of options to utilize our shipboard credit offerings. But with that said, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today, learn a little bit of Regent Seven Seas Cruises. And I know we're all very, very excited and anxious to travel. There's definitely a built up out there. I know I'm going to throw a party once things get back to normal as far as traveling, but we will be there soon. And again, All Aboard Travel, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and in such a very innovative way. Now, I should open it to questions. I didn't know if anything came through, Sherry.
Let's see if we have anything coming through. And I have a couple of comments just saying it was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so very much. And I want to reiterate that comment, Nicole. It was so thorough and really precise, and it gave us a great deal of information, not only about Regent Seven Seas, but about what to expect going forward with the COVID pandemic, although all indications show that by May it's going to be under control of what I have been reading and staying on top of. It's really nice to know that it's being taken very seriously on board the ships so that we can really feel comfortable and just stress-free when we get ready to set foot on board. And I am really looking forward to when the ships start sailing again. Regent just does, it's just a world-class level of service. They are highly requested by our clients. You all just do an amazing job. It's just fabulous. And I want to also say, since I don't see any other questions coming in, I want to thank you for providing us with those special extra goodies that we can pass on to our clients. I know that our preferred partnership with you and your brand allows us to get our hands on some of those nice things. It really just increases the value overall of everyone's vacation, makes it a little extra special. And I just can't thank you enough for providing that for us and for our clients. So thank you so much, Nicole.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for all you do, your partnership, and for all of you that are listening today. You're in wonderful hands with All Aboard Travel and their advisors. I mean, they're great supporters of ours, great partners, and experts on the Regent brand. So thank you for that.
Yes, they are. And I want to thank all of you for joining today as well. We're so happy that you were able to be with us. And with that being said, on behalf of Regent Seven Seas and All Aboard Travel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.